To this point, you might have heard about many different tools about how to stop procrastinating. But are you at a point where you wonder if it is really even worth it to stop procrastinating? Maybe you think that you are just the way you are. You are procrastinating all the time and you cannot change this anyway. You might be even wondering if procrastination really does help with your productivity. And if it does help, what are the tools that are available in order to help you to stop procrastinating? Those are all questions that I want to help you answer in today's video. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And today I want to answer your question, should I even stop procrastinating? And does procrastination really influence my productivity levels? And the short answer is yes, it does. So we will dive a little bit deeper into that. But here is the first thing. We are all procrastinators. We all are. I am a procrastinator. You are a procrastinator. Don't make this a thing about yourself and, how difficult it is for you to not get into action on all these different kinds of things. That is a story that you're telling yourself. And it is really, really important to reframe that story. Because I think it is really important to look at the things a little bit differently. And when we are expecting of ourselves to be absolutely perfect in life, then of course we are putting so much more pressure on ourselves to get things done constantly. And in today's society, we always think that we always have to be working, and as soon as we stop working for a second, we already feel like we are procrastinating. So it is really a little bit about how we are looking at things. So that is the first thing that I want to talk with you today about, because you need to believe that it is possible to change and you need to reframe your procrastination. As I mentioned to you before, you cannot make any changes in your life if you don't believe that you actually can. And procrastination is something that everybody does, but it depends on how we're looking at it. Do we look at it as a way to recharge our energy levels and take care of ourselves? Or do we, every time when we think we procrastinate, beat ourselves up for not being super mega efficient and productive at all times? That is the most important step, okay? So reframing that. Maybe you were a procrastinator in the past. Maybe you were. Maybe you always waited for the last day to write papers and hand them in or do something in the household or whatever it is. Maybe that was your story before, but it doesn't mean that you can't change. It doesn't mean that you can be different today. And first of all, it's important that you forgive yourself for that. That you tell yourself, hey, it's okay that I was procrastinating. It's okay to feel guilty about procrastination because we all have been there too, right? I have been trying to record this video this morning for the last 2 hours and I was procrastinating. Or was I procrastinating? Or was I just focusing my energy on a couple of other things? You see how I'm just reframing this and reframing the procrastination? Procrastination has such a negative connotation, and maybe you're not a procrastinator. Maybe you are just somebody who likes to do like little things really quickly in order to get them done and then get to the larger projects. It is important that you understand that your mind is a really powerful device. And already Henry Ford said that no matter if you think you can do it or you can't, you're right. Because your mind is powerful and you decide if you can make changes or not. So let's talk about this. Now that you have reframed your procrastination and that you agree that you are ready to make changes in your life, the first thing that you need to do in order to change and shift procrastination is obviously to notice procrastination in the moment. So notice when you are starting to do something different, when you should be really focusing on something else, right? Because again, we all do this. And especially in today's world, where we are constantly distracted by our phones ringing, by a new email hitting our inbox, by all of these different tabs that are open in our browser. We are constantly distracted and we constantly can focus our energy on something else. So first of all, it is important to notice that you are procrastinating or that you are being distracted again, right? Because we want to reframe the procrastination. Maybe we're being distracted. Maybe we haven't taken enough time for ourselves. And that brings me to the next question. So now that you have noticed that you are starting to procrastinate, ask yourself, why are you procrastinating and what do you need in this moment? Maybe you need a break. Maybe you simply need a break because you're procrastinating, because you have already worked so many hours in the day that you simply do not have any energy left. And that is the reason why you're starting to procrastinate and being easily distracted, because you haven't recharged yourself. Or you realize now that you don't need a break, that you really need to do this next thing. And that brings me to the last point in today's video, which is getting into action. Motivation doesn't come first. You actually get into action first and then the motivation will come. And this is a huge misconception that many people have. I am not feeling motivated to do this, so I'm not going to do this. I'm waiting for my motivation to arrive before I'm going to get into action. If you wait for your motivation to arrive, you're going to wait until the rest of your life. Let me tell you this. Because when we are talking about procrastination, when we're talking about getting into action, it's sometimes about creating new habits. And when you're brushing your teeth in the mornings and in the evenings, do you procrastinate that or do you just do it? You just do it because it is a habit that you have created. It is a little bit about discipline that you have created. And when we are talking about procrastination and about really getting started and working on something that's important for you, then it is really about getting into action. When you have a rock that is sitting on top of a hill and you don't take action to push that rock, it's not going to start moving on its own. But once you are pushing the rock, once you are moving the rock, once you get into action, then your motivation will come and the rock will start to move. And it will kind of start this chain of different actions and different activities in order to get really literally the ball rolling, okay? So getting into action comes first and then the motivation comes second. And one of the interesting things when we are talking about this is that you need to set realistic goals. It needs to be a goal that is attainable for you. So when you want to get something done, just do it for 5 minutes at the beginning or 10 minutes at the beginning. At the beginning of this year, I started to run every morning. And I am not a runner and I'm not a morning person. So the perfect best two combinations of starting to run in the morning. But I told myself, hey, Julia, you can still go outside and go for a 1 mile run. It's not going to break you. It's going to take you 10, 11 minutes and you're done with it. That's all I'm expecting of you. So I made it really, really small. And every time still now, and I've been running now for 4 or 5 months pretty consistently, and I still have days where I don't feel like running. I don't tell myself that I'm a procrastinator. That has nothing to do with procrastination. It has something to do with building a new habit. I just tell myself, even if you just step outside the door, Julia, this morning, and you move for 5 minutes, you can turn around and get back home. And you know what? I always go outside. I do that. And I never turn around. I always get my 1 or 2 or 2.5 miles in. And it feels amazing because again, here I got into action and then the motivation came and then I felt good and I just kept on going. And that's what I want you to start. There are 2 different categories that I want you to start thinking about when you need to get into action. There are items that take really not a lot of time. Maybe an email that you need to write, a message that you need to send, maybe a chore that you need to take care of at home. If it takes you less than 2 or 5 minutes to do that, just do it. Don't even put it on a list. Just do it right now in this moment. Force yourself to do it. That's also about getting into action. Just how I force myself to step outside in order to go for my run. It's sometimes we just need that first initial push, that push of the rock. and then we just got it done. So that's the first category, right? So just do the things that you need to take care of, do them right away. And then the second category are obviously the items that might take more time and that feel a little bit more unattainable because they're a bigger chunk of things. Maybe you want to write a 10-week online program, or you need to study for a big exam, or you need to prepare a huge project at work. And then, of course, it is important that you write this on a list and then you take time out of your schedule in order to really think about, okay, what do I need in order to get this done? So write all of the things down and then, chunk it up and start doing something. Because here's the thing again, you think that I will never get there. It seems so big. And I can tell you this from my own experience because I was a project manager in my former life and I had to always chunk up different projects and things can always get done. Over the last 1.5 years since I started my business, I created an 8-week online program and I created a 10-week online program. It's a huge task, really. And the thing that helped me the most was that I expected myself to do something small every single week. And doing something small for 8 or 10 weeks consecutively helped me to create a full online program. It does work. You just need to get into action, and sometimes you need to force yourself a little bit. So what really helps me is to keep the goals small on a weekly or daily basis. So to chunk it up and to sometimes even set a timer, right? Sometimes we feel like, I really don't want to do this. This is taking way too much time. Just do it for 5 minutes. Force yourself to do it for 5 minutes. And I promise you, most of the time you will stick to it. And also tell yourself that it is totally okay to not stick to it after the 5 minutes, but you are still a step further than you were before. It also really helps to clear up your workspace, right? All of these different tools and techniques that all of these other YouTubers are talking about in order to stop procrastination. Of course, they can help you in the big picture. But what I really want you to take away from my video today is, first of all, that you believe that you can change and that you can reframe procrastination, because you're maybe not even procrastinating. Maybe you're just tired or you're distracted because you haven't practiced enough self-care. Number 2, that you notice when you procrastinate in the moment and then you ask yourself, what do I really need in this moment? Do I need to break? Do I need an action plan? Do I need to force myself to do something? And then number 3 is to get into action, because now you learned that you need to get into action first before motivation comes. Don't wait for the motivation to arrive. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to do this tomorrow, because tomorrow will never arrive. We have all been there. And then just work from there. Create a habit, create discipline. And if you need a little bit more insights on how to do that, you can find a video on my YouTube channel about this as well. So I really hope that you found this video today helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you did, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you liked the content, and I really hope to see you in the next video.